So welcome back to this part series where we're talking about how you can come to Australia on an employer-sponsored visa. And I'm very excited to share and go deeper with you on these different visa options and opportunity because in my role as a career coach, a lot of people reach out to me and say, how can you help me get to Australia on a work visa? And previously, I've always directed them to registered immigration agent because I'm not a registered immigration agent. But now, in the last couple of months, I have really done a lot of extensive research to understand this visa, the requirement, the eligibility. I'm really excited to share. So if you've not caught up on the first three parts, please go and catch up with that. It is prerequisite for understanding what we're talking about today. So we're going to be talking about specially skilled stream. So if you recall, the last time we talked about core skills stream 482 visa. So in this specially skilled stream, we'll be talking about the overview of the visa. So basically, similar to core skills stream, you are able to stay up to 4 years. If you're on current passport holder, you can stay up to 5 years. The cost is 315. As you can see, it allows you to work up to 4 or 5 years in Australia. Study, you will receive government assistance if you study. You can travel as many times as you want, no restriction, as long as your visa is valid. And you can also apply for permanent resident. As you know, permanent resident visa is a point-based system where they need to assign point based on your age, your experience, English language, and other things like your partner point, all of those things for you to be invited. You need to check your eligibility for that. And what is also important is that you must be nominated in this Australian and New Zealand standard classification of occupation. So you need to check this ANZ, I struggle to pronounce this, but ANZCO occupation list. So just to blow that up and open it, you can see the list here. So you go and you'll be able to look at the list. Yeah, they always update the list from time to time. Anyway, just have a look at the list and see if your occupation is there. So occupation listed in major groups 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 with salary that meet the specially skilled income threshold. So they need you to be earning in that income threshold. You must have at least 1 year relevant work experience in that field. You must have relevant skill assessment for the occupation if required. Like some specialist occupation don't require skill assessment, I gathered from my research, but you can look at that as well. You are only able to work for your sponsor or their entity, except there's an exemption. You must meet minimum standard for English. We've talked about the fact that Australia is an English country. So let's dive deeper into this visa. I'm going step by step, showing you from the immigration website. It says, so this is the ultimate source of truth, and I'm explaining based on my own experience with people that I give advice to as well. But by the way, remember, I'm not a registered immigration agent. This is just informational purposes, so you can do your research as well to corroborate what I'm saying. So with this visa, you can work in Australia for up to 4 or 5 years, depending on your passport. You can study, but you won't receive government assistance. If you go broke, you would not get government assistance. Please note that. You can travel as many times. We've talked about that as well. See, look at the cost. The same thing with the core stream visa we talked about earlier. This is a temporary visa, so you need to understand that your employer nominates you for that period. You must also continue to deliver value to your employer, right? They nominated you, they brought you to the country, so you need to deliver value. If they find you wanting, they can withdraw that and you'll be stranded. So you have to always do your best work for that employer. Your employer may decide when you maybe 4 years on that visa, the employer may be able to sponsor you for a permanent resident through another visa. We've done an overview of this employer nomination scheme 186 visa. Check part 1 for that if you've not checked that out yet. So link in the description below. All right, so you can also include family members. You should not have previously had this visa 482 before. Super important point there. Also, you should not have been refused the visa or cancelled. You must not have character flaws as well. I mean, according to immigration's definition, Yeah, so basically your obligation, you can see your obligation, you can read that here. You and your family must meet the visa condition and obey Australian laws. Must be a law-abiding citizen, like not citizen, resident when you're here. But there's no restriction to you how many times you can travel back and forth. So you have work restrictions in terms of you can only work for that employer that nominated you. You need to check your eligibility criteria. It's the same thing with the core skilled stream as well. You don't have any age restriction. You need to have substantive visa, a valid visa, effectively, and then you need to have or you need to have bridging visa. All of these things you can have a look. We've talked about it in the core skill stream as well. But importantly, note, this point I always emphasize. You must not have had a visa cancelled or a previous application refused. Super important point for you there. And these are the steps to apply. Also, I covered that extensively in the last visa. So what is different, just to recap, mostly it's about you looking at this ANSCO occupation list and meeting the skill income threshold, then having the 1 year experience, just like the other streams as well. So I hope this helped. Please subscribe, share with your friends, can help somebody. And I'd like to read from you what your feedback is. Remember, we're still on the series. We're going to talk about how to find this employer. So please don't say, oh yeah, I've heard all these things before. So yeah, you're now aware about these visas. How then can you find the employer? We're going to get into that, the strategies. That is my core, by the way. So we find strategy for you to find these employers and then how you can position yourself to be able to attract them as well. All right, thank you, and I'll see you in the next part. So if this video was valuable to you, you want to see part 2, even part 3, the entire series that will help you position yourself and be the standout candidate to get that visa sponsorship that you truly want. So subscribe to this channel, stay in tune with playlist. I'll see you in the next one.